control. Akwa Ibom, let's let it show. Akwa Ibom, let's dance and let it show. Yakidala, let the rhythm rain. Let's celebrate today. Yakima Okeuli, let's come together in Akwa Ibom. Unity will last forever. Nemembubleo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice, the happiness be Nemembubleo. The rhythm takes control. Akwa Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole. Nemembubleo, the rhythm takes control. Akwa Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole. As a break, as a whole. As a whole. Nemembubleo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice, the happiness be there. Nemembubleo, the rhythm takes control. Akwa Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole. Yakima Okeuli, let's come together in Akwa Ibom. Unity will last forever. Oh, Nemembubleo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice, the happiness be there. Nemembubleo, the rhythm takes control. Akwa Ibom, let's celebrate as a whole. Let's celebrate as a whole. Let's celebrate as a whole. Oh, Nemembubleo, the beat drops in the air. Dance and rejoice, the happiness be there.
All right, good day, brothers and sisters. Welcome to this important live conversation. Today we confront the silent but deadly crisis that affects home. All right. And not only home, hearts and entire generations. And the person of Mr. and Mrs. Domestic Violence and Abuse. Domestic violence is not just about physical harm. It includes emotional abuse, psychological intimidation, sexual coercion, financial control, and even spiritual manipulation within intimate or family relationships. It's when love turns into fear and protection becomes persecution. The violence does not wear one's face, and protection becomes persecution. The violence does not wear one face, I repeat. It cuts across gender, age, religion, and social class. Many victims suffer in silence, ashamed, afraid, or made to feel responsible for the pain they endure. But today we say, let's discuss this issue. We are bringing to our Kwaibum people awareness, healing, and empowerment. We are here to break the cycle, not just by talking, but by educating, supporting, and advocating for real change. So, as we begin this session, I encourage everyone watching and listening to open his or her heart. If this is your story or the story of someone you know, remember you are not alone. Here, there is help, there is hope, and there is a way forward. Let's begin. As I call on a wonderful sister, daughter of Bibuland, and by the grace of God, a Kaiban, another Kaiban, an Ekbai Song Bibu, living across the oceans, a simple but industrious daughter of our land. As I invite Mem Speak to introduce herself, uh, our sister is just coming into the house again. After the introduction of MM, it will be her turn to introduce herself. Of course, she's a regular host. Everyone knows her. Welcome to the program.
Hello, Dr. Rankin. I think, is that Arit? Is that the one I talked to?
Yeah,
Okay, I
yes,
want to be able to
yes.
identify the face. Mokomo. Toika.
Me
Uh-huh.
too. Ayaneka,
Uh-huh.
thank you. Good to hear that from you.
Well, I can speak Ibibio the best I can, but I think I'm proud of what I'm able to say. Well, anyang mekere mem.
Okay.
Into ikoroso. Okay, hold on. Let me not cut my tongue here. Into ikot osok otok ukam. Kem parenin.
Ikoro tokukam kem parenin.
Yes.
Yakay mama niya.
But I
Very
think
soon.
they can make now. I'm not sure if it's Ukanafono
Wow.
or something, but they can make now.
Ate kai moto na ngoro kai mo ili ongi tiende ka ate na.
Well, listen, when I have to just find my book and look at it.
Ana ajit isang idio. Isang idi.
I think
Now,
it's
Isang
Ukanafono or
Ayo yun
something.
na mi o idio ogan de ka ate abogi mi
Mediongo. Ato Ukanafono. I think so.
Okay,
I
I
hope
will get
so.
to Ukanafon. So, all right. So today we want to discuss this issue of domestic violence, and based on a recent video that's been circulating, I think be patient. Let me play the video again before you start, and let's really see what happened here. So that's the disturbing video online. And now over to you, ladies. Tell us about domestic violence and what you think.
You want me to start?
Anyone can start.
I want you to start.
Nyasem kiku kanyen.
Box them. I'll be glad.
I'll try to say in Yuku Kanyan. So every mfuna go for ndo is because I think human being any both good and bad side. That's how I see it. I think you mean the evil in the abasi inside of us. It just depends on the one that we allow to control us is the one that makes us to be who we are. So from my experience, from Dando throwing Kufoikamimi to the point of Doi baking me and also had friends who got married earlier than myself. Unplugged phone me and my laptop. Excuse me. The battery is running down. There's no mfna I say okay with one person. Every mfna between two people is always two people involved. But one person is possibly the one that will instigate it and push it. One person is always the author of like steering the water. I don't know how to put it. And then the ability for the other person to be either be able to manage it or fall into it or make it worse now depends on how it's handled at the end. In the family, I feel like this emotional control, emotional regulation is a big thing. And use example. I like to use personal example, man, or illustration because it helps me because I'm a part of it, so I can actually share the experience. Tidando ito in go for me, make me, and I never liked it. But I started trying to analyze what's the cause of it. Sometimes it can make me itong like akoniko, and it me ma unye koniko jimi do out ya mo ikup but she can do that for a whole week, and that will drive my dad crazy. I'm not saying I'm supporting him. I can't support anybody. I'm one, But as a child, so ni yebo mama tan ko ya ye ko so bo fin ya for tan ya mo ikup ya toro me mo fix the problem like okay, I have Elizabeth. Go me nam ko se for do ma tang no me ya ndiong se for tang. Ya theory is find a way to solve it, but it can maybe open up. I just like on and on and on and on. And sometimes they tell me I just atongo di mi aye maybe case rube I word this rufo. And but as we got older, we step in and like papa could nam all that. Mama for tang and sufuna tang. But she'll just say Basudion, and Basudion. That's just it. And that just drives my dad crazy because Abasudion is not the problem. You have something bothering you, say it out. So my analysis as a young child observing all that is, okay, Mima Doibe, I'm never going to be like that. I'm going to make sure I say what is wrong if I'm bothered over something, because sometimes things that might offend the other person might not offend this person. So I believe if somebody says what's wrong with them, then you're giving that person the opportunity to know that I'm not okay with this. And maybe to that person, it's not supposed to hurt your feelings, but it's hurting your feelings because we are all different. So for me, I'm naturally very outspoken person. I don't know if it's what I saw in my parents or it's just my personality, but I'm usually not afraid of anybody. I can talk to anybody and just make myself clear because I want them to understand me. So for me, it's like that. And it me Songwood, me Songwood. So it's like two Songwood people together, like outspoken. So like for us in for me, it can be a very little thing, but that instigating, like pushing it, okay, let it go. And if the person doesn't let it go, it gets into a bigger thing. So I think any mfana act to two people, but one person will be the one steering the water more. And then the other person has to learn to either control their emotions or do the wrong thing, like what we see in that video. I mean, I don't know that family, but I hate to see things like that because it just makes me cringe when I see things like that. I'll stop there. I'm a very detailed person, so let me stop there. Let me stop there.
Yeah, let all the women speak their mind. You know, I'm only one man here, just one, facing two women. It's not easy. Women, Mutium.
Sister Irene, Stariko.
All right, I think network is affecting her.
Okay.
The first thing I mean, mo committee na si ko tanga pick a sample case rufo. And a sample of a pick a case rufo ben a voice and a gafonetiti. Because the way it is, Abi the Uber Ruffian. Ntewoden, Nyong Boron Noiban. All right, I'm ready. Let's hear from her. Network Ayawanya.
Network is really disturbing
Hey,
here.
Nipron, go ahead. Let's listen to you.
So my sister Atang, because in my time I call about domestic violence and abuse. Isi dara ke wicked, but immediately ke mkposi trigger the mfana before nye ke kpon. Because into Surini, now my sister Tanga okay, something must stir up the water. Mkpo ma atsokodo free ni eye jere mkpo de jere mkporo. You know, because there are some people who go mkpo petape na anye tanga do we ma isi onta. This was a sanga do kongufo. Ido afre we mountain edu wemedo. Like she said, I mean, this is your money that mintang ya would no yaris. I mean, mboku yaris do, but can antang simbiang men so that afodion maybe polo mara marinim fene fudunam ukem poro or akporo ba wo segedo free ni esoko koyo nam po mfana ba because uto no do more so uswini mpana fondo segedo amake na mawo enwan iko young set an example maybe akpodo awon one more back ufo iniere senam awon adi ni uborutum then ayen no aneke depend on a bemo solely ani ni edogo uboroto wude ni song as in there's no cash at that point. Some women, Riban, is in here that understanding. Either of Riban in here that understanding. Kibara. And at that point, I want to one year say nam ani etongpo abene kromo a cover up that very period. But amado ibara do medio okaba usuri banado any taid yok idememo even when they have the money edibo. I've had that experience. I want Anna Mefere as an edible because of Maggie. Maggie, that time, Maggie was very cheap. It was that me by 100 as in no cube. Anna Mefere as an edible because of Maggie 100 naira. I starved the children. So by the time Ebe Modi Yongodi, the thing at the Wongiko. At the Wong Puffin. So things like that triggers.
All right.
So, Dr. Mbok, let me stop there because my network is really disturbing.
I want to ask a question right now. Two of you representing the whole women of the whole world. You know, many years ago, I was running a church of more than 500 people. One day, a daughter of Zion, under my care, came to me. That it's been a long time. The husband refused to fight with her. I said, what? She said, Daddy, if we don't fight after 2 weeks, I'm not happy. She
Wow.
confided
That's
in
serious.
me that when there is war in the family and there is boxing, that she love it so much that she'll be excited. In this case, every time you talk about what, just as a woman, before we talk about domestic violence, because a woman is telling me already, she's always excited when it happens. The husband will box and then she will box the husband. The thing will make her happy. How do we talk about that? How do we judge that?
Oh, wow.
Let's start there.
Well, I think that kind of a person needs therapy. She needs therapy. That's the first thing I'm going to say. And it's possible that I think a lot of questions I will ask that lady is how did you grow up? Did she grow up in a violent environment? Because everything depends on what a child sees. And some people grow up and they decide to change from what they saw that was wrong in their family. And some people live with it. They feel like that's the right way to live. Take, for example, like my children, I always like point out to them in the presence of their dad, not even behind them. I like to present to them and say, you see, this part of daddy is not okay. You better put it in the trash because he has work to do. My husband always get upset when I do that. I say, you see, this part of me, it's not okay. This is the opposite that would have been better. I have work to do on this part because I do not want them repeating what they are saying, feeling like, okay, that's love. Because for little children, when there is violence, they are watching, they are absorbing. When there is peace, they are watching, they're absorbing. And most of them, if somebody don't tell them what's actually happening, all this war that they are trying to make sense of, they feel like the both matters for them to be successful. But somebody in their life has to point out and say, hey, I know you're absorbing all this and hearing all this. This, it's not okay. There's work to be done to place it in this spot. So that lady, I think she needs therapy. She needs somebody to truly know how she grew up and be able to start afresh to re-educate her what's okay and what's not okay and what true love means. Because maybe that's all she saw with her parents or whoever was her guardian growing up. She saw that chaos, and she also, in the same chaos, saw peace and love. And she felt like it has to balance up for it to be a successful reunion. That's my that's my input there.
Thank you so much. Iqbal Samar, do you have anything to add there? When a woman by herself is inviting a man, he said, come here. Let me deal with you.
What I have to say,
The man at this point is even trying to run away.
oh, no.
So it's the woman that says the house is boring. Let's do it. Yeah, it's okay, Harold. You are released now by network, so we can hear you. All right. So now, okay, you are back. You can speak now.
My network is really disturbing me, but let me quickly chip in. Some people that are born into toxic environment, violence, family, because apart from Mponsop, our Mponsop, because aba wo nkpo so bo nye do nye tie anye mi wana ke wan anye to ye musung na anye
That was, in fact, to be the last part of the program. I don't know how her spirit mashed up there for her to discuss the spiritual part of it, the spiritual contribution of domestic violence. Anyway, as a man, domestic violence is likely to occur when a woman doesn't understand the man. Number one. Number two, majority of women are not married to the man they love. Any question there? Somebody will ask me. Yeah. I am saying, number one, domestic violence occurs because the woman doesn't fully understand the man and the man does not understand the woman. Two, so any question first before I explain myself?
I have a comment there.
All right, go
I
ahead.
have a comment. Understanding, to me, I feel like marriage, the understanding is every day. It's kind of like a school that you never graduate from, because different situation triggers the person's other side, and how they handle it makes you to understand that person. I don't think
Okay,
they full on.
then realize that impatient in the part of a woman, because she's not through studying the man, with impatient on the part of the woman can trigger violence. This thing is both men and women. Yes, impatient. You've just cited an example here. If there is anything worse in this life, it is a woman sitting down for a man to become a spirit to figure out what is wrong with her.
That's right.
That thing can kill a man 100 times over. You will see a man going up and down. In fact, the most deadliest part of it is when she even tried his best to ask the wife, please, what is wrong? And she kept mute. The man is dead. The whole neighborhood, he wouldn't greet anybody. And that house at that time becomes unbearable for the man. The television is switched off. Children are affected because they cannot have their dad again. Their dad has been transformed beyond their eyes emotionally because somebody is killing him in the spirit. So if I may ask, what stops a woman from being outspoken? What stops a woman from being free with the man that she loves? And I have said here that the problem in most of these marriages are women are not married to the man they love. And I expect some questions from that angle. Why am I saying that? At my age, I have grown enough to realize that love starts from secondary school. That's the truth about love. And that's the first love. A kind of love that will be coming with a kind of atomic fever. Hurricane fever. And you will not only know that you love somebody, the person is sparred inside you. You know the problem with that love? The person they can love can never be able to take care of her. That's the problem. That's the problem. They might be in the same school. They might be planning about marriage, but it's impossible. It's impossible. The man has not settled yet. No job, nothing, but there is love heavily. She owns the heart of a man, and the man owns her heart. But where is the money? And they are sitting under a tree planning this. It might be in an uncompleted building. They find themselves in uncomfortable places because money could not afford them the luxury of life. They are hanging around along bush tracks or corners. But there's plan going on. And one day, what happens to the lady? A ready-made man appears and the family agree. You know what I call a ready-made man? He has some money, excess money. Nigerian way of talking. He comes with excess money. There is a car there. And he has built his house. And the wife will have rooms in this house. And the mother begin to tell the daughter the impact and the negativism of poverty. The little girl will be hearing, listening. But the love is not with this man, but because mommy loves him. And daddy welcomes him. The senior sisters, the cousins, the aunties are jubilating. And then she went back to the love of her life and said to him, I am sorry. They cried. You know what the Bible says? The Bible records that the first husband you have is that person you agree to. That first person you agree to. And only God was your witness between him and you. The Bible records that. The first husband of any human being is that of secrecy where no parent is involved. But your heart was involved. God was involved. It's in the Bible. That's where the marriage is. And now here the girl going with a man whom she never loved, whom she never knew. And here is a man buying a car for her, trying to please her. And we talk about here. But where is the love? The smile is halfway between the teeth. The lower lips and the upper lips has nothing to consolidate. And then it disappears. There is no long lasting, because smiles and laughter can be long it can be long. But go to the other guy with no money, the laughter will ring through the roof. And it can have some synthetics. It can have like, it can have radiations. But to this other man, the television is there, the money is there, everything is there. But the smile is halfway between her face, so that mommy will not be angry, so that the man will not notice. So this is where domestic violence comes in. I want you people, women, to talk about it. I still have more analysis.
I have objection to that.
Very good. That's what I want. That's what I want. Very good.
I have objection to that because
I like that.
You're looking at it in the point of poverty. When you look at it in the point of like general, both rich and poor, I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think it has to do with the person, the two people.
No, let's go from, we are talking about a Akwa Ibom condition here. And this reflection goes back there.
Okay, I thought it's like in a general.
No. I can't generalize it, because the rich and the rich have their own issues. The class.
Where I'm also an advocate for a child to be matured emotionally before they start thinking they are falling in love. I'm that advocate of starting a relationship that early in life, I feel like most of the time is infatuation. It doesn't really have a solid foundation of true love. That's my perspective of children falling in love in that early age. I feel like they really don't understand what love truly is when they are in their teenage and adolescent age. That adolescent age, for me as a person, it's not a good position to make a decision of who you love or who you don't love, because circumstances can change people's way of thinking, both the man and the woman in question. I feel like children should be taught more self worth, both male and female, and know the reason why they should fall in love and not just fall in love for the sake of the flesh. Because those little relationship that takes place between the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way to 18, even at 18 years, I know people say it's adult, that's still a child. The brain is not even fully formed yet. So I'm not an advocate for starting a relationship at a time where you don't even know what true love is. And that's all I can say.
All right. You are seeing these things from the Western kind of way. But
No, I'm not.
I am an Akwaibom person. And I bring to you what happens in Akwaibom here. I bring to you from that experience what happened in Akwaibom. And you can never stop a child from making her decision in secondary school. The more you are trying to stop the child, the best she could do is to hide herself from you. And to hide everything that she's doing. You will never know till she get pregnant and then try to commit abortion. Maybe along the way she died. So now, from the background of the child coming out, the heart was with somebody. We're talking about the heart here. We're talking about the heart. Above all, if you cannot have the heart of a person, forget about any marriage. Because where the heart is where you will find tolerance. It is where you will find endurance. A woman, you will run to a woman, your husband is vomiting there, she will run and clean it. That's when you will know that the heart. And to her, that doesn't disturb her because she was ready for everything about that man. And while in some cases, some will never answer because they are in pains. And somewhere along the line, reflect. Was it through enchantment that I find myself here? Oh, abasi didn't see me and go to ATM. Abazu said for those who don't see me. Me going down off here. Come, yeah, go for abasi cook up here. That is a message. But a stupid man is laughing somewhere, thinking the wife is joking, but she has passed on a message. Regretting from I have heard of a lot. But so she even caused the day that she met that man. Whoever was the reason that that makes me to know you. Yeah, I had a talk. Let's hear from it quite so hard. This is a very big matter. This issue is
Ah, the issue of domestic violence are a very vast topic of discussion because most educated discuss Emma. So many people what they are going through. Kenkang Zekwa mommy. Some rural areas and through Afoka Akre Troyen apeke walk ufok bap akpong ete love. Afokere men to love kedo. Me love me get to tongue there. Then some of them, these men, say maltreat them more. Atogentera more. Some parents will now have issues with both families. You know, they will now say, "Ke afuketeke ayene miyama idem more," and all of that. So utong control. Mbok iki yare siroke mbonsinia a Nigeria ebenika. So utong pontom anienanga anam usong toko yena dogo. Afoka diki no moitem. They will insult you. Eya usong yen. Ewoga for the edi biaru fong mimo. So as a result of this, the vekuru saka mo. Eke sene bo ufen amimik binara ebo. And some of these things happens. Environment they find themselves. Environment, our academia really matters in life. Environment where one found his or herself. Because uswini, you cannot compare abarakine adu ikaru fongwet. Ayene barakine ikaru fongwet. Idi onge di ongo na nkpo baba compared to ayene dogo akangwet amonongpo. So some of them, if you try to advise them,
All right. I know that will happen. Network will happen again.
sing you.
Okay.
So nkpo domestic violence aneke sene nkpo tieti nneke kendi ongo na nkpeka kantatanga yue. I don't know.
All right. I was trying to educate first on the part of love because where there is no love, anytime you notice that love has reduced to 62%, it is a red flag. It is a red flag. So if you can check very well the atmosphere of your home, when love has reduced to 80% over 100, you have to do something about it. Try your best to restore it. And if you cannot do that, it continue to reduce, cutting to 50, 40 is totally gone. Now, we have been examining love first. So my sister was talking about the high class, the rich. That is the worst scenario, the worst case scenario, because the daughter of a rich man will say bye bye to all the riches and find one poor boy. And that's another issue here. The family will disown her. So, how do we reconcile that? Yes, let's hear. I'm setting examples.
So I feel if I want to go with what Sister Arit is explaining from the point of living there in Akwa Ibom and seeing everything, I think educating our children about love and sex and all that that comes with it, it should not start when they're already at their teenage age. It should start when they are little. So I think everything from what she said, if I'm going to go with what her explanation is, like, okay, the young girls, like she points out, they feel they're in love, but they are in love with abusers. And she said, depending on their educational level, depending on the environment. And before any school propped up, from my little research I've done about our past, education actually started at home. So whoever is in charge of raising these children, they are the one in position to fix these things. So when children grow older, they can understand what love feels like, what are the characteristics of love, so they can be able to pick it and identify it and make use of it. Because Sister Aret said something. They leave their parents' home They're hanging out with some men and or young boys possibly, and they're being abused, and they're still comfortable being there because nobody taught them what true love really is. So I think parents and guardians have a big role to play in raising a society with less violence from childbirth.
I was raised from such a background of discipline. But unfortunately, the time we are talking about, you cannot discipline a child. A child decides now. There's nothing you can do about it. If you try any act of discipline, the child will depart from your home. And the friend or friends are ready to accommodate her. So this is a very big problem we are discussing right here. Anyway, there is a man here. Let this man speaks a little. Maybe it can help us understand something. But generally, men, there's something men hate. No matter who is involved, that is a woman, there is something a man hates. A man doesn't like a woman that keeps secrecy. A man felt he is not safe with such a woman. Without telling you, just without telling you. A man, there is something inside a man. Even if your son, check, you will find that thing. It's like an inbuilt engine. It's like the way God programmed a man, they came out with it. The way God built men wasn't all that for romance. It's like God built men for war. You can quote me right. But a woman was given to a man to pamper a man, to bring down the warlike nature. I don't know if I'm communicating here. To subdue the warlike nature of a man, a woman was entrusted to his care. And let me say this. Men are not difficult. No man will raise his hand when a woman is actually in love with him. I mean, when a woman is actually in love with him. A man is so simple. You know pussycat. You know pussycat. I can just equate a man to a pussycat. When you begin to see a man releasing that thunderous voice, it takes a woman that has a kind of, a righteous Delilah, not evil Delilah, a righteous Delilah spirit to put her hand on top of this head. And you
Doctor, please, which one is righteous Delilah spirit?
A righteous Delilah spirit is a kind of spirit that God has given to women to bring peace in days or times of calamity. A woman can control a crisis. God has given them that power, that God has given them that enablement, but the truth is that they don't like to use it. They don't like to use it. The Delilah righteous spirit is a kind of woman that will stretch forth the hand. Don't just touch his head. Before you touch that head, hey, you defect, so. You defect, so give it to Efik women. Just give it to Efik women. They capture you. They capture that thing and they remove it from the head of the man. And you see him melt. All what he will say is, you provoke me. Oh. He say, I know. Don't do it again. Oh. And then, where is the money? You add the money, he will laugh. He will just say, women and money. Women and money. So, women, in fact, that is why the government employ them as secret agents. They still use that Delilah's project, the Delilah project from the Bible. The government are using it. And then they train women to be good CID, secret agents, because they are using that Delilah training. But here is a woman at home who is competing with the power of a man. There is something about the world of women. I know God has created them, they are very soft. They're soft beings. If you touch a woman's hand, they are very soft. Everything about them is very soft. But only that I do not know if God put iron inside their mouth. I have been wondering. I have been wondering the sharp object inside a woman's mouth. I have been wondering upon how beautiful they are, upon how soft they are. But when they release that thing to a man, you begin to see the symptom growing in a man. Like, oh, the man is like a kind of dreaded fever. And then I remember one, we were even trying to calm down the matter. I don't know. She shot the husband one bam. The man was mad, torn like a masquerade. And when the man raised the hand, she added, "No, I would." What would you do? Hey, the whole place was uncontrollable. It was like, it was crazy. It was fire, because the man was, "Come and prove how I still good." Finally, when all these things get to the chief, what did she say? She said, "I just wanted it to pain him." Can you imagine that? I just wanted it to pain him. You are setting somebody ablaze. Now, any contention with a man from a woman makes the woman equal with him. And when a woman begins to release those syndromes and symptoms, the man doesn't see you as a woman anymore. The man sees you as his equal. And for a man to meet his equal, the competition at that level is nothing but war. And then he will log it on with you as the equal until in fact, even at that point, if you say I be woman, the hand you will just see him drop his hand. Hey, okay. What a man needs is that surrendering mood. Okay, I don't surrender. You do. But some women vow. Come out. Even you see, maybe they have beaten her. One part of the eye is gone. She said, "Just come out and try me." You see, this is where the problem is. A man needs a little recognition. When he's coming back from work, he has had enough insults on the road. A lot of things have happened to him, even in the office, because of going out to look for food, trying to care for his family. And here is a woman standing on the door, challenging him why he's coming back that time. You wouldn't tell this house until you explain yourself. That too is deadly. And women shouldn't go that way, shouldn't go that far. Because he's coming in from, the frustration he's coming back home with will be on your head. Transfer. Immediate transfer. So a woman that knows this thing and was taught will allow a man to rest, shower at a good time. And then most women don't know how to create that period of peace and a good discussion between her and the husband. And even if a man said, "Not now," remind him. Just remind him. And then when it is that time, it is done. And when it is that time, he is not in the mood of talking, know that he's under depression. Many women use the time of depression to mock their men. They don't know that they are terribly depressed. But that's the time they want to play jokes. So a woman, because a man will tell her just simply, "I'm not all right today. I'm sick, but not physical. I'm sick in my mind." A woman who understands will consolidate, will comfort him. But there is a woman that will tell you, making all the efforts of that man, past and present, rubbish. Some men will show you. Some are very quiet. But in my that they can do and undo because of how difficult the stress occurred. And another thing that wound men is when a woman they love so much compared them to their men who have excelled. Okay, let me allow you to say something. Are you there? Are you there? Go on.
But yeah,
Yeah, listening to you. I have a question for you, sir.
Go ahead.
So, what do you think about men respecting their wives, being that they are the head of the house and they are able to have that modeling figure of how their family should run?
When a man begins to disrespect a woman, something is missing. I'm talking as a man. What you will know from a man is that a man comes with a regular warning. Don't always hang around with that your neighbor. Very simple. Don't do it, please. The husband is suspecting maybe a wayward neighbor in the compound. And here is a man trying to save his marriage. Please don't hang around there. And that's the wife assured him that even if it means leaving that neighbor, then let the marriage finish. The man will depart. Forget about it. You see, that the day that warning will return back again. Because the man knows that that very person, so before you see disrespect, something, if women will be honest, something is wrong. Is highly wrong. Are you aware that as terrible as things are now, that there are women iPhone 16 for nothing? And I am Biakakan. I do a woman, I have a word in a dip, eat it 1.2 million. I no brain. I mean, no brain, zero brain. Zero brain. Because why I said zero brain, apology to wise women. Why I said zero brain? Because make it kid now did. Ebo nye ko agade biete 1.2 million. Ebo nye what is nursing science? Agabo you don't know. You can need them. I studied biology. Then if you did 1.2 million, he would more is about you. So what do we call that? What do we call that? I know there are very many good women that knows this rule, and because they know this rule, they act accordingly. They serve themselves, they serve their home, then they give. See, all these things we are talking now, if I tell you the truth, it's very simple like this. Man need nothing. Small respect, not big one. Small. This thing I hang idiot. So small, give me my small respect. And then if you go to a home that the father is maybe has a doctorate degree, the mother has a doctorate degree. My sister, they bring down Oxford University to the parlor, both husband and wife. Neighbor said that I go now the Ibema release encyclopedia, release the law of indices. Udok, Abob. And so all those things. This is Israel will control all those things. And I will not like our sisters at the joke when their husband is telling them that thing. Try your best. That thing. Oh, my dear, my friend, don't worry. Let me remove now. Don't say at the young port to go in a hido. And some men you don't would any fun. Don't worry any tiaba. So, what I'm saying here is okay, let's play a video. Listen to the opinion of this little boy. Just listen.
Among us dies very quickly, very fast. Today dies very early. Why is it so? That the ones we call the good people among us dies very quickly, very fast. And then as a young inquisitive boy, you ask this question to a Christian, maybe your pastor. Why is it that the good ones among us are dying very fast? And the Christian will answer you and say that God is always taking the righteous soul very quickly, so they don't compromise their ways here on earth. So God kills the good people very, very fast. God takes the life of the good ones very fast, and then the bad ones' life are prolonged. And then as a young unsatisfied boy with that question, you will now join it again in your curiosity to find answer to this question, why the good ones are dying very quickly in our society. And then you make light of Africa Renaissance, the cooker of men, who is about to culture you into eternal life. Why is good people in our society dying very fast? The reason is because the definition of good people in any westernized society is a man who is nurturing his own destruction, thinking that he's a good man. The definition of a good man in any Christianized society, in any society that has been westernized or given Christianity, is a man nurturing, pouring water on the flowers of his own destruction, thinking that that is what is called a good man. And I will give this in a contextual analysis. For instance, a mother who gives birth to a child, a newborn baby, and throughout the day of that child growing to the day the child become an adult, the child have always called the mother a good mother. What you will know is that this mother is just raising her own destruction, because the implication here is that children never regard a disciplined mother as a good mother. Children never regard a woman who is high-handed, who is trying to purge, to bring out the purification dimension of the child out of the child by beating, by molding, by scolding, by sometimes even denying the child food, by sometimes even flogging the child, by sometimes even giving the child punishment. Once you see such high disciplined mother, children regard the mother as a very wicked mother, until the child grows to a point. The child will now turn back to discover that those things I called wickedness was actually an act of discipline. So if you want to see a very, very mother that is about to raise destruction and disaster against herself, look at a mother that the little born babies are all calling a good mother. But then when you see that high-handed mother, a disciplined woman trying to bring out the shape of the children she wants, you will discover all the children are calling her a very terrorist. I have a very wicked mother. My mother is very wicked. Just know that one have a very disciplined mother. And that disciplined mother is going to have long life, because the implication is the disciplined mother is going to raise a child that is about to grow and then start respecting and knowing the roles of being humanity to the mother. But the one who the mother has been calling, the child has been calling good mother, is going to raise a child that will terrorize the mother, deny the mother peace of mind, and equally beat the mother, because the mother have exerted the hand of being a good mother where the mother was supposed to exert the hand of a disciplined mother. Follow me to family. A man who we call a good man today in our society is a man who have learned to tolerate, to administer, to just take in all the nonsense that the wife he brought into his own house is offering him. And so this man, having been settled from his boy place, did this business for 3 or 4 years, went to marry a wife. And then immediately the woman comes into the house, that man, on the principle of love, have destroyed the boundaries of leadership and gender segregation. So the woman starts feeling entitled into the man's boundaries of a home. So number one implication is that it makes the woman not to submit under the leadership of a man. And the gateway to eternal long life of a man is a man who was able to put his wife and his children under his leadership. Once a man's family is not under his leadership, that man can never have long life. So when Christians are calling the man a good man, what that man is a man who has learned to submit under the violence attitude of his wicked monogamous wife. So that man has been purged with impulse, being a partner of logic, selfishness, being a partner of generosity. So the implication now is that the woman is actually destroying all the internal peace of mind this man deserves. The man talk and the woman talks back. Those things, that means the man is seeing that the man is supposed to exert discipline, more shout, even punish in a very severe manner. The man is being called a good man by the society because his house is peaceful. But they don't know that the peace that the man is having in his house is the peace of the graveyard. Peace built on injustice is not peace. Peace built on a man submitting that is that the kind of peace experienced in a graveyard. When you come to a graveyard, you see there is enormous amount of peace. But there are only peace there because the people there are dead. That is the man who have choosing to be called a good man in today's society. The man at some point the woman summoned the courage to begin to call the man by his own name. Your wife look eyeball to eyeball and call you a mech, or call you baby, or call you sweetheart. Wife is now calling you my soulmate. Provocative name that should activate your discipline. Imagine the woman who goes to your house calling you baby. That means a small boy under her own leadership and administration. And then you are taking the insult. Don't know you are digging your own grave. The day you become a very bad man, then is the day you ask up and say, don't ever call me baby in this house again.
All right. That is the mindset of an African man. That's the mindset of an African man. You see, I have been saying, this baby of 18, this baby of 18. So many African men may answer that baby during courtship. But find out for how long they enjoy you calling them baby. Because they may be answering, but you don't know inside them that is paining them. You see, this is Africa. And they are born with it. This is hard. It's hard for them to change. Let me hear from him. Yeah. Let's talk.
Well, the analysis of that young man, he's filled with wisdom. I think he's a very old soul.
I agree with you.
He's wearing a young man's face, but he's a very old soul. Like he's repeated this earth many times, so he has a lot of wisdom to give.
Permit me to laugh, please.
Everything
he said
is true. I can't dispute that. All the examples that he used is very true. It's good. It's good for people to be able to express themselves. That makes them who they really are. Because we have passive people. We have passive both men and women. It just depends. Like some of them are overly passive, both men and women, like he illustrated. And both back in Nigeria and even here where I live, with a different color of people, they are passive and overly passive people. And most times
that's very true.
Like he pointed out, and I was going to ask you that. I didn't know you were going to bring that video. Personality. How do we break people that's their personality? They are not able to come out of it. I'd like your opinion on that. But I support everything he said. It's good for somebody to be themselves, both men and women. I think it opens up that understanding, like you talked about earlier. It opens up the room to fully understand the person if they are able to express their true feelings than pretending. There's a lot of people that pretend, both back home. I mean, I was in Nigeria for 33 years of my life, so I actually know what's happening there. Maybe not in Akwa Ibom, but I've been with different tribes, and the violence and abuse is in every tribe. It's actually in every tribe and every color. It doesn't even matter if the person is from a different country. It's happening. It might not be broadcasted easily, but it's happening, you know? So The guy is right. The young man, okay, the old man in the body of a young man.
Aye, Diagobongbu.
He's right.
Aye, Diagobongbu.
Yeah, it's good to
It's
be
okay.
out.
Ikwaisong, what do you have to say? You've listened to that young man. Ikwaisong, we can still hear your voice even though we don't see you. But it is okay.
Okay, doctor. I partly listened to the guy. He talks about good people destroying.
Bad people destroying good people. That woman open.
Themselves, thinking they are doing good.
Yeah.
What does he really mean by that?
Okay.
Because
Say
I
Yaminedo.
know
Say
some men
Yaminedo.
with good hearts,
Say
they may
Yaminedo.
tolerate
Atong
a
okay ka.
lot.
Yeah, atong okay ka.
Yes, some good men
Now,
tolerate a lot because I know what my gender is capable of doing. My gender, I don't know, very funny set of people who go in the kese baseke kamaburo mo. Ani na nga na de meki da bo banzento. Afo come on here try the cheese. Ebo fe what is good about this morning? Mboete bebet kudo ben pana mfoka imo ina kadi mo yemme kombi yemme pana I won't take it, you know. At that point, how a very CD he understand what one saying at that point they do. And yeah, this okay. To in sobo mama no ya and you know come back to our real senses because more ebang and through on their own they will just get angry, they get upset in Eresido. Then when you are trying to adi ikominibo ado die afusuba and abo fin tatwa you can imagine on one bibu abo fin anti egero tatwa akatnang
yeah,
tatwa.
bobi ya awoden.
So
Ni kana do
afokruto
apogedong.
respond.
Apoge siodong. Oh, siodong bundu vodong. Doko mo kembara.
So I mean the only preventive power about no iban adi inwa because usuru iban any inwa any inwa like I watched one video, sorry to say this, I forgot say ani nanga usuru iban
I know iba no bodo. That thing is very hard to understand. No, I don't know what it is. So that thing. Let
e come
me.
neighbor ke digi come ebewo abo yen neighbor good morning. The respond neighbor okay neighbor ado good morning 1 minute man. The man ado shock abo basi neighbor nduto
Any
komidodo
problem?
neighbor basi
Uh-huh.
afudugo 1 minute man. So forget usuki pane say yam mebe mo enongo neighbors kesien. So yebo ayedibo one. Come and hear, he's calling me 1 minute man. Abo yen fudogo. And yebo, how did you get abo yen? Abo one. Ida I forget tanga guess when you don't hell. Usuki ban even when some husband try to cope with them. Avo ayakatka usuka wana. No wonder Bible okay. It is better to stay on top of the roof than staying under the same roof with a nagging woman. So usuri ban nyeneme nereke ndi onanga di na musok. Then doctor in the other way round, iban sinungi inienti uwememe. Some good women, but few.
Very sir.
They go through a lot of.
That's all goes in down. Very sir. Yaw what fear nanga.
Yes, sir.
Hey, kamanna. Say ka. Very quick. Service. Anam assessment yeka. Atai kamanna.
Can you marry a woman like your mother, like me? Can you marry a woman that behaves like me?
I can actually go like you are intelligent, you are smart, you're beautiful. But you give her, but you're very masculine. You're too stubborn.
I don't understand.
That's too stubborn for me.
David, I'm still stubborn for you.
Yeah.
How?
Ah,
So you don't pray for a woman like me?
not really. Oh.
Did you hear what? Did you hear what the discussion? Because it's better. It's just that okay, Yemedi Iya says. Now I more feel because I yet training maybe she's a single mama training all by herself alone, and now asking the son, "Will you marry a woman like me?" The son is now telling her, "Mom, you are very beautiful, industrious, you are caring, you are kind, but mommy, I don't pray for a woman like you just because of one thing. Mommy, you are very stubborn." And what did I say about a man? As small as he is, just one thing. All right, MM. Okay, Aaron, you didn't finish. What sister Aaron, you didn't finish.
Okay, usugin
Your network is not supporting you today. Sorry about that. Let's hear from MM. Because if you train a child, a son, and one day your son analyze you like that, how will you feel as a mom?
Well, I do ask my children that. That's something I do. Like I say, I feel like how we raise our children from when they are very little, like from when they are born, actually has a lot to do with them understanding what life is. I do ask my children that question. They usually say, I don't know what's the best way to put it.
That mom is very stubborn.
They say, Mom, you're very nice, and they count everything, but you're also strict. But I think my strictness, I think it goes with that old young man, how he said it. I mean, it's not by spanking, like it's about setting boundaries and following through. I'm that kind of mom. I like to follow through with things that are meant to be done. I'm not passive or overly passive. So I may have to ask my son, would you like to marry a woman like me, and hear what he has to say? Then I'll give you feedback.
Okay. Are you aware? I don't know if your children have ever used you to perform drama. My children used me when I was out to perform drama in this house. And how did I know this? I came back and they didn't hear that I've packed. The drama was still on. I was hearing voice. Uh, Charles, why do you do this? Hey, you sit down there. Why do you do this? Hey, we don't tolerate this in Africa. I am an Ibibio man. Hey, you come. Pick that thing. And when at a certain point, they were laughing. And this one was say, all right, see, rest, let me be daddy. All of you go to sleep. Sleep. Come on. That's where they start. Who is sitting there? You're not hearing my voice? In the days when people were selling slave, I would have sold you.
Oh, my dad likes to use that word.
You see, so this is children. You go out like that, drama. Everything they have seen you do, your behavior, everybody don't get drama. And this is what we are talking about. See, Indo is very simple. To the good women, I have heard that KTM1 is Ikatebe. I have also heard KTB is Ikatetian1. You see, these good people never meet. If these two good people ever meet, you will never hear their voice. But you know what I've been asking myself? Where do armed robbers get their own wife? They will never quarrel. In fact, I won't want to see a car fasting in a church. Mbari baby ka operation at night, ya succeed and young worry. That one makes me wept. Why is it that at that level, I'm going to brutal? I get to arm robber, I get they love them so much. It's all desert. So how do they do it? To good women, I know that a lot of pains are bad. Let's go spiritual a little. When I was a child, my senior sister was married, and before she was married, there was a condition to be fulfilled because and the husband had to understand before my senior sister. And when I asked my dad why that was necessary, my dad told me without that, because she will never be able to stay at that home. She will become stubborn. She can break the man's head, and that thing must be done. That's Ibibioland. So, before we talk of this domestic violence, you that we are coming from a place that a daughter, he pushed out to marriage. There were conditions to fulfill because of who they are. Adiara, different level. Moi, different level. Oyorita, whatever. Different, and this, you see those number 3? Oyorita. Those ones are highly inflammable. Those ones you could pump to planet in Yemen. May you white to guru. May your man care for the young Kenya Rodi war. Near the Rod Wara Diaika. I don't run Waika. Ababan take back contest the body Yaika. And then you will find an old man. Sinama Yena behave to him. A boy, I can am damn. I can am war. That thing he wore my friend. So I want to say, if most of these women they don't want to go found out today, those things monkey wore more because there was an old woman that used to do it. By the time I was growing up, she was more than 120 years. And when one semi one head up, one he would from that day, you see a woman being soft. I mean, full of love, good planning, and she will treasure her home. There is no room. There is no room for equal. You can't hear anything. So now, after seeing all these things as it was in the past, do you think that is attitude or character a promoting or a spiritual husband somewhere? Is it a spiritual wife somewhere? Because we are coming out from where these things are in existence. I leave the floor for you. This is final level. I have already said this is going to be the final level of this discussion. Let's go spiritual and see it.
Yeah, sister, I really thank you. And you thank you, or minutes or more for no.
Network, I don't even hear what doctor was saying. Network is really fluctuating here.
Okay, but I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, doctor, I can.
Right, I am saying that kept before word or one. In those days, at the young one, your Yorita, Abam Bossegis in a meadow mock, he would a get one, so I get one, so I get one, get them, so I get one, get junction, Odiono, and many all those places. Odiono is what we now call Idiane today. Yakob Idiane Konobi more, Idiane Oku, all those was Odiono. So now I could want all those things, and from that day, such a woman will be okay, Kendomo. So what is going on today? Do you know whether these things have been domestic violence, Mary, and the abuse? So let's go on that.
Yes, doctor. So I can say, then I can say no in the other way around.
Network is not in our favor
Company
again.
for me. So I said I will say yes and I will say no. I will say no in a sense that so many of our children in this generation, our parents in Eleki Yara, some of these secrets.
All right.
So etogo na ma kedo ufondo. Anya toko ba ibot mwam idiongo ke ufin idiongo ke nasia. Aye me dida nka mebe. So for ke kusongpo idugo right. Then yes, in a sense that family ake diongo kutong bo me dikpinam. Mo esene dinam. Kentari kovasi mo di beni kovasi ye biyang idem e bene na miso e boke yene basi ikpina akenam this ikpina akenam that e ya ndi todo justly esange bofen unjustly bofen amik video ngake tutundo ke bianga but mo efre banga given some of their pastors esuro edre eketam some of these things but ya ket nanga ke kworo ku foko basiebo mo ku nam ke di yongpo ke fo amed we basiedi ka hellfire straight so some of these things nam broken marriage adi wareti because awinama me mkposekpe na tenam kende ke tradition winem ku
All right.
fondo enyunge eba ya fort idogo dido
Yeah, I could be take by some me say.
atako
Well, sir.
unyama.
So
I
for
could be
So my
me,
take.
sister, you can say something.
Uh-huh.
for me, I personally feel that it's yes or no as well, but with different reasons. In those days, there were not as much distraction as it is with this modernization. There's too much distraction in them, and expectations in those days is not the same like it is now. So it's possible that same way Kisenam in those days was working because we can hear so many things to do. Damn, even though in Nigeria, maybe humble, mewe ya jminye internet ku formo, ya dinam to me jmi nye moti nye ntoko. All those things add to pressure in a family, both for the woman and the warden. Afong, different type of afong, for instance, and all that. Igbo could Siba invoke all those distractions, ekoronye stressors. Those everyday stressors can create mfunaku for ebe ye one, both kidemebe, kideme one. But in those days, I wouldn't hear all those numerous distractions, it creates stress, kidemewo. Then spiritually, it's possible, okay? Yes, sometimes spiritual, we are not complete being without our spirit. So spirituality and the body is one. I know with Christianity, that's been removed. Now people see spirituality to be more speaking in tongues. That's how they see spirituality, but it's beyond. It has nothing to do with speaking in tongues. A being is complete with their mind, body, and spirit. If there is no balance of equilibrium, then there is a problem. So I believe that the spiritual aspect should be taken care of. And I also believe there is so many distractions with this modern life that is creating so many stressors that throws relationships apart compared to those ancient days.
Though we are not discussing spiritual today, but everybody with reason. Provided for the Odiaraki song in Bibu, your marriage is not only bride price till today. when once you are Diaga, go back to the Bible. From the Bible times, Diaga Kedu is sacrifice. Not only for herself alone, but for her entire family. Diaga Biomukuro for a family. And that's her position. And even right now, as I'm talking to you, so many media, Ebiomukuru for a take wood. So many media. And sometimes it switch. It can switch from Adiaga to one. And I don't have time to explain that today. While Adiaga take the responsibility. Or Yoita take the responsibility. There is Adiaga physical. But a word go Diaga in the spiritual Yoita. I can explain that another time. Because with responsibility, you will know them. When once you are this Adiaga, you don't have problem. The day you would often all the bodyguards, invisible bodyguards, say that you can worship any God you choose, worship any church, but they are following you. But before me, they will deal with you. They can throw sicknesses to your children since you don't want to do the right thing, and they can make a woman barren. They can make a woman barren. They can cause disharmony. They can be the reason of domestic violence. So that since you refuse to acknowledge them, each child, it'll go free as it is. There are things you don't do as we are talking now. And I don't know because Jesus talks about these things. People are trying to play logic with that statement. People are playing logic with that statement. Even Jesus, after healing some lepers, he told them to go back and show themselves to the priest and do what they're supposed to do. It is written in the Bible. Why did he, if Jesus was just a born-again style, he told them to go back to the prophets, that the prophet will do. And one person returned there to the prophet. And the Bible wrote there that he was made whole. He was made whole. But others say, because they feel and they believe it's all over, not knowing that they were not made perfect. See? So, in that same Bible, where it do not ever shift the ancient landmark. What we are talking about today as civilization is what is destroying us. It is what is bringing this domestic violence. It is what is destroying homes and destroying children. Because whereas you don't want to do those things, and you go to one deliverance church, I am the gods of their father. I am from their family. They manifest and begin to talk. I am a first child. They did not give me my thing. And somebody said, cast, and then Anya will fall down. I tell you, amen, is delivered. There is no deliverance. You are not delivered. Forget it. You are not delivered. A spirit can take an excuse. What I guess you don't go back, and then they follow you back. Is the pastor coming again with you? No. And can you pray? No, they subdue you. So what are we talking about here? We are, see, even as you are sitting there, and I am sitting here, if I saw sitting there, we are not physical beings. We are just physical, temporary. Very soon we'll depart into, we disappear into the spiritual. All of us will become ancestors. What are we talking about here? You are not physical. Your physicality is not permanent. It's not permanent here. You can be. Why am I saying this? Because you are a spirit. I'm a spirit. Everybody somewhere there is a spirit. So what makes us spirit? We're supposed to fit our spirit parts while we are here, as it was when we were there in our premortal existence. We existed before. This is not the first time we are in the world. We existed before. We existed. We existed with God. We come down here. And there was an agreement we were coming down here with. Some people agreed to be poor here. And now I'm poverty. But that was what they agreed. That they want to come and come away complain about it's all about poverty. They want to come and see it. So after coming to see it, you now said no. You have to face it till the term of the contract and agreement is dissolved. That was when you will depart this planet 8. So this is how the whole thing is. We are here on a contract. We signed to come. We signed the home. We go. That's why I'm going to say Bible, and it shall come to pass, a child will be born. A professor, now what will happen to the child? Ain't no specification. Because it's coming from the spirit realm. And when we close our eyes in dream, we close our eyes, we see these things coming to remind us that they need their food. Would they meditate? I was being chased today. But you say you pray for you. Why were you being chased? You say you are filled with the spirit. But you wake up intimidated. And you're asking somebody, see, where are them? Where are they? Where are they? That shows you are a spirit. So, this is who we are. And let me tell you something about marriage. There are people who are born here that will never be a first wife. You doubt me? Question now. Question. Let's talk. But rather, it was a contract from the premortal existence. And there are people here living with us, Iban. They are not born to be married to mere men. What I mean by mere men is non-royals. What is on their head as they are being born? They are born royal. If we feel bad, if you see them, they are very lazy. And somebody will be talking, do you examine who you gave birth to? Do you know who is born in your house? That's a royalty. I get a word in front, I will marry you and you take, go away. A boy up to 20, go away. I will tell you, do you know who is in your house? Do you even care to know? You use ordinary mouth to be talking to a deity who is inside your house. In some cases, when you talk like that, does that not show you that is like you just talk about that boy, an old man that is coming back, an old figure? We have them a lot. That time I hear the opinion who say, in the realm of the spirit, the young so in here to go Bono can feel. So in here to Bono can feel. So maybe a 2 years old, 3 years old child, go down and go to opinion on the money who say Vian do. Saying to Mammy Avian. You don't know, okay? Maybe your grandfather take a senang to go in what? A senang in me. It's a good sorry in me in what? Simply because many men are go for more. As you know to what? It depends on the Yapia, where we can and borrow. I to try. I can't do you. He can't eat. So, do you know what happened? All these things we are talking about, domestic violence, abuse. You know my conclusion? It will never cease unless we find a solution when our husband changes behavior. Marido want them, marido obey them. And when a woman enters a man to confront the wife, the man begins to talk like a woman. As witness. In fact, a reasonable woman should understand that the husband that there is a woman present in the husband talking and challenging her. These are things that we need to be taught. No man can do that. There is a presence of a spiritual woman who enters the husband's life to make life miserable for her in that house. And if the wife have a spiritual husband, the spiritual husband and what the spiritual husband intend to do is throw that suffering so the spiritual husband and you found. Because the spiritual husband that was an old covenant in the premortal system before she was born here has not been discharged, has not been sent away. So when a child is born here, we separate the child and we separate from the placenta. But there are other spiritual attachment coming with a child that oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, amen, let it go. It doesn't work that way for an EBPO person. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If you pray for a woman, it's not telling the name you're gonna womb back. I'm going. Very, very nice, very sweet. I'm here after I've proven seven. I'll go fire. And I can't have go it. The wish fire. Do you know some preacher under deliverance anointing because they cannot discharge the spirit? They can't. At the end of the day, and then the demon will punish the person the more, and you cannot even bring the person again. So ordinary, they were not demons, but because you refuse to pacify them. Let me just say something here, man. Aaron. When a child is born newly, by 9 o'clock, our forefathers may be a kamadi. About Chai. And I'm telling you the truth, Megan Borkenyan me as a child. This principality in Yongokung, very white. Very white. And you descend from Uten, Get Kenyan meme. I know Roma 12 every 9 o'clock. Then if you be the mem so Mama Kono you, Mama Unamam Bobanga, Goya Beneca test, Beneca. So Zoga doctor, dear be test spiritual. Tese no ibok, a kumi bok, Genetoi to I come. A cabasinom for a few days in a Benayan. And all these things follows a child depending on Suto Yinedu. A bedo Yinedu go boya caning it. I won't want you wouldn't. Eduki bomb principalities, to go get the man a rimbut. You have to search to know. And what about the Yaman on the way I go to Emmanuel, go and say, called me to know young people to go what you do, so in all, yeah. He boy better so in me, born of luck, Casodi. Born as a child. So we have to understand because these are powers and then it's not easy to send them away like that. Let me tell you one thing. A man abu a family work go is red wardian. I speak as a man. I speak as a man. So in American now would one about the my titi Mindoria the next day call he pick up. After Why is he running? At the higher capacity. So sometimes respect. Respect. Because they carry you, and I carry different things that I cannot mention. Nwa kado light, light, akabado light. And no yogita, you go light at all. But yogita, there are several classes of appeasement, atonement, and many things. Before I can able yogita, they can be very quiet and calm. A yogita, and Bugu Yama yogita, and Eco, no okay, and fin. So I can look at so about 10 million. At the young 10 million by 4 a.m. More take boy take from. I read them mediate a good morning, he got to kick him. Let's solve it today. That's how their brain is. All right.
Doctor, let me ask you a question. So these characteristics, categories of the position of Ntoyin, is it in all family or some family? Eto Kwaibo.
All.
Well,
all.
Image ke family meal.
Image ke. Already me image ke. There was somebody. Ake kono ke fan boronam together. There are some families. Eite meite boom. And number those things in advance. And on the toyen. In case imo quick party sing a different ubonemo. Are you aware?
Okay, but so am I categorize
a protective grandfather? A protective grandfather. It's like today there are some parents, some fraternities, some secret organizations. Are you gonna succeed? Everything say you're gonna matter succeed. Then if you tell the other person they might succeed, he can't understand now who succeed. They will go to church and shout hallelujah and come back. But the father has enlisted him or her in a high place. They made use throughout their lifetime. Nothing touched them, nothing hurt them, everything about them is success. So what will happen is a generation that was not covered by the fees, say will begin to suffer.
Okay, Yamano, but that idea does it have to do with Kuroto Ukarete or to Ukareka?
Sometimes Adiara Wakamido Diara Noite, but it will noika.
So a based on a te or a cat.
A base skate. It take a monado. But the other for a cat. I only don't for an amount to solve. Because that's where you hear. And another problem that we have. But I'm out when finish your webo, pong for them. Oh, mom. And I better mobile when is good. I better makba. Then if you don't know, you don't remember pong I see Ovian. Forget your marriage will not work. And I remember a way Kuben finish you don't take pong. Abam possibly na me no worry. If you go back him. And make up because bong ba. Make up case even a waste you.
Kam eteme tang ntedia ekami egebene yese kaitemi.
And what you know that
kaite.
okay. About temida kami. Arigido a pope Catholic. Then booking kere rankanaba. And ankayem an older figure amake exists as a poop. It transfer in nomian. A fruitum saying yakanamado minjaduro. But physically, a yager rank and middle rank and get because of me. So by the time I go, maybe I mean, see a kite make kite take over.
Ba anyang kore kaite woke kere, sebu kaite woke kere. Let's say imabong. Afodisio youngful. Imabong is that how the
No, it doesn't work like that though.
Okay.
It doesn't work like that though. There are some things so There are some drinks, so there are sometimes, depending on the family, they say woriboro, sometimes he worunenu. And this upon votes you me. In those days, he or she will be coming around with gifts, so many gifts. And the day would you play a role, you play a part, because everybody will look up to you, Heidi, and everything say be nam, you must be present because you must be here. So you'll be guided on all those things to do. And you must make sure you look into where that person is being buried. When am I crema, is it successful? This thing is higher than we should know. It's not like that. There are deeper things. I can just change. I don't know. There is a transitional program. Thing. So my CDR rise. Because I go to bomb for you. And on NDR, I'm a fan boss. I've been fear good. And I want to tell you the severe ones. How about work for a boga pong, where about when I've been a tobacco costing a go back. Not change, not transform immediately to himself. It's very easy transaction. Yeah, young. Yeah, young. No, you can't need demo. No, it demo get domestic violence. So, no, what any demo, no one any demo. Yeah, I don't know for more.
Abante Sister Arit, network mo iba, this name also
Let's
sick.
start with you before we finish. She might be back.
Well, the only term in I think I'm called understanding. I made the humble understanding I don't of every day. First of all, let's base it on our little ones. I think as parents or guardian, if we train to win, he exposed Mosiba in this life. He don't come Mosiba because as they're exploring, even though most of them are old souls, but they came to us as children, we still have a role to play to guide them at a very early age, at an early age, like from when they are born, they are absorbing their environment, they are listening, they are taking in everything in their environment. So that's their learning period. It's always me train more when they're already older. That sometimes is too late. So I think that's the first rule is for us to be able to maybe not eradicate it, but minimize it. It's raising the children properly, informing them what the world is like, what marriage, what relationship is, what love truly is, abusive love, if there's anything like that, abusive marriage, having them to understand it at an early age in their life. I think that will help. And then for those that are already adults and they're either in the abusive marriage or not, I feel like understanding, being honest, because honesty is everything. Like for some people, when the trust is betrayed, it's hard for them to get back to trust that person. And
Very true.
Yeah, and then everything the person does, even though when the person is trying to be genuine again, they've already lost that trust. They kind of see the person as a fraud. And then if that's in a marriage, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. There's no way it will be smooth because that trust has been betrayed. So I think it's important that we are honest in whatever we are doing, and we should be accountable for our mistakes, both male and female. Some people don't want accountability. They don't want to be responsible. They push blames on other people, and all that are the things that stir up water. Let's be sincere. Let's be honest. Let's be
transparent.
Let's be transparent. and take accountability if we make mistake, because we are human. We will make mistake, but be able to say, yes, I actually did this. I wish I wouldn't have done it, than trying to defend it and the other person truly knows that you did it, you know? To me, I feel if we can put those little things, they sound little, but they are very important to be able to minimize abusive relationships, starting with our children and then the adults working towards these areas that I mentioned. We might minimize it.
That's very true. That's very true. All right, that's our sister MM Smith reaching us from Indiana. Very wonderful place. All right, our dear sister Ikbaisong. We have taken a very, in fact, hours. No kang initiamo. May yes, I could never. Am I boy can go kangamo? Is it in me?
See her.
Is it? I'm Is it in a man? I'm going Nigeria. I'm making you. May you go in any job? Oh, bum. It's okay. See about until the young for today. I am okay to make about through the week. You need book and you need to yo. Young you need issue you. Young Mamokang. Evocado a time on Yunin. Make time on the book. I don't want a young hobby kiddo Yarida, Chabam Bonodo. Nor on me, Matthew, you wouldn't need it tight. I don't think you could take it. Not the young that kept very soon. Get warm. I need a psychiatric hospital. I don't I love him. And you know me. I'm in the Canando. Or of young Mabu. Ngi wana ga uriya yene jonjeri wana ga mama booking God. So ya do jang on yinunin. E jang on dubu. So then bo mo gana balance. O ma da kan te baba ma down. Ka wana mambo ka wi mi wana ga wan go fok kide mi sine memo. So on that note, about of I always say one kind of wrestling, my boxing, go for before it's run him. Young you need your box so that you need to work and make me now and you need to work. You need your get style for so a meme come fu. I buy some and go come fu. I mean, my come fu. As it is, you need young and you need young and turtle. Yang ini good our ancestors. Yari say now so Ari by say before you move. He's okay for the can too.
Ukui make by song Bibio, Dr. Joseph Rankin.
Nyaga tangi korum for me. Ain't wonderful. Have ya ndufa came. Ke mai ba ke mem ke afre ven bom aya fonoma pero kan dot yegi chen dom fo ku until another time when we'll come your way again, I say good night to my